Welcome back to Travis Strikes Again. You know why we're here in the bathroom again. Travis gotta change out his t-shirts. Going for another legendary tier t-shirt. This one for Majora's Mask. The thing I find interesting is that, same for the Wind Waker one, you basically get like different choices based on if you want the very original art or the updated like re-release one. But
for the 3DS?
Yeah, like you choose either N64 or 3DS artwork, and I like the N64 one better because it's like the darker shades, and also the game will be going into after we find Jean again. It's called Serious Moonlight. Majora's Mask. It has a moon. That moon's pretty pissed. That's pretty serious. Must be mad about something that would warrant that.
Serious business moon.
Yep. So this is what I had briefly talked about when we were going through Golden Dragon GP last time, and how the final like dungeon crawling section starts you in like multiple rooms. When I was recording for this, RNGesus decided to be mean to me and started me at, I believe it was room 4, which was too far to the right for me to actually reach Jean. But the idea is you start from either room 2 or 3, and then you basically try and take any opportunity to go through a door that moves you downward instead of up. And that leads you to this room where Jean is straight up blocked by the wall.
Chunky girl.
Yep. But at least you always have the sounds of Jean meowing to kind of lead you in the right direction.
That's still really, really nasty the way they did that.
Yeah. But now we're getting ready to dive into Serious Moonlight, the game in which the magazine article doesn't even give you a clear sense of what the fuck it's going to be.
The title screen looks like it's some kind of indie Steam game, but the art on the right looks more like Super Girls and Ghosts knockoff.
Yeah, or old school Dragon Warrior.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like, all that's really known about is that it's supposed to be a AAA RPG, and, like, it went through, like, a shit ton of, like, crazy, like, development periods. We even, like, kind of, it was gone over a bit briefly in the last Travis Strikes Back segment where Damon Riccatello was just upset with how it was going and tried to turn it into something else. So, within the next minute, I want you to take your wildest guesses as to what the opening video for this for this next Death Drive game could possibly be.
Little Kirby dude goes on a massacre with an assault rifle.
That's a good one.
Stacking game involving piling corpses to resurrect your dead son.
Also a good one.
Just 24 turnips in a room. That's it, just turnips. No.
Were you expecting Shadows of the Damned?
Garcia fucking Hotspur?
Yeah! And motherfucking Johnson! His big boner.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, hey, Fleming's son.
See, I was thinking it was Mondo Zappa for a minute.
Yeah, it almost looks like him.
The suit and the suave haircut. Oh, cool. They got the same voice actor for Johnson.
Yep, and Garcia as well.
Yeah. Now, Steve Bloom's been in the game so far, so...
But even then, like, Greg Ellis, he actually voiced another character in this game that we saw earlier. It was Brian Buster Jr.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not sound like him.
Our little skull-faced gun has grown up into a man.
He's become a real boy.
He's become a real skeleton Kamen Rider.
Oh, wasn't there a Kamen Rider Skull at one point? No,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Skullman.
Skullomania.
Yeah.
But yes, we are not in serious Moonlight. We are in damned Dark Knight.
Gotta say, did not see that coming.
No one saw this coming. Suda made sure that this was the one game, like, well, aside from Killer Marathon, that made sure that in, like, the lead up, no one knew what the hell it was gonna be.
I mean, I was maybe expecting a shout out, but this is a whole new... Wait.
But,
Does that mean we're going to have to kill Johnson?
Let's get to the end and find out.
Swear to God, if we have to kill Johnson, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, even Travis is thrown off, but he immediately recognizes what this is, though.
Well, that's the thing, because Let It Die was originally going to be
Lily Bergamo.
Bergamo, however it's pronounced. It was going to be a AAA dark RPG before it got messed around with, so... I wonder if that means anything.
Yeah. But yeah, this is definitely, like, I think actually my favorite of all, like, the Death Drive games, not counting the DLC one. But, like, all the ones that came, like, with the game at launch, this is absolutely the best, which is funny considering all the locations we go through are just the exact same spots you went to in Shadows of the Damned, but, like, in reverse. You start literally from the end of the game, and, you know, I'm just gonna say outright, and because it's no surprise, you end this game returning to the highway to hell.
I mean, Shadows of the Damned, for all its faults, it did have a strong visual aesthetic. So it would make sense to, you know, if not ape it, then borrow heavily from it at the very least.
Yeah, but the thing that at least that stands out to me, like, the most about this whole Death Drive game is how, like, no one saw it coming, but it's the best kind of no one saw it coming because you look back at all the hints that no one actually paid much mind to, and suddenly everything makes sense. like I mentioned with, like, the voice actor bit, like, there was a point a couple months before the game's release that people were still unsure whether or not Robin Atkin Downes was going to be back as Travis, because the initial reveal trailer, they got a sound-alike for him.
Yeah.
But then, like, they announced on the stream that of who the voice actors were, that they got back Robin Atkin Downes, they have Steve Bloom as Batman, Shinobu and Batgirl are, like, DLC characters, and they got their original voice actors, which is especially impressive for Batgirl because her VA, Catherine Fior, had actually retired years ago. They brought her back specifically for Batgirl, and then like, for no real reason, they mentioned, oh yeah, and we got Greg Ellis as Brian Buster Jr., which was, like, kind of weird in hindsight, considering he's a boss character that you barely hear. You don't even hear any spoken dialogue from, really.
Yeah, a few grunts, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that was the first hints that, oh wait, the other reason they could have gotten Greg Ellis back is if they wanted him to reprise the role of Johnson. But then there's the other hints in-game where I jokingly mentioned, oh hey, John Riccitello, I mean Damon, and he's the head of Unity, I mean Utopenia. Like, John Riccitello, as we all know, he used to be the head of EA back when Shadows of the Damned was made. And, like, and now he's actually is, like, the head of the company that makes the Unity engine, which is especially funny considering this game's constant lip service to Unreal.
Yeah. When you say lip service, you really mean constant filleting of.
Oh, very much so. And the fact that this is a game that started out as something completely different and ends up being a Shadows of the Damned sequel is meant to be a huge parallel to just how absolutely fucked with the development of Shadows of the Damned originally was. Because it was never supposed to be what we got.
Yeah, that was originally going to be based on the works of Franz Kafka, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it was, like, and the name of it was called, like, Kuriyama.
Yeah.
Like, the whole idea was it would be, like, heavily reliant on the idea of having to survive in just an oppressively dark environment where darkness was the key enemy, not so much whatever was lurking in the darkness.
Yeah, it was going to be closer to something like Clock Tower, with vague survival elements.
Yeah, but then, like, with EA, like, getting involved, like, no one was able to even, like, understand or, like, get on the same page of what Suda wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And, like, they basically went past not only him, but also Shinji Mikami, who had worked with Suda in the past and was basically pretty much like the linchpin in making sure that Killer 7 even came out the way it did. Because Mikami, as the producer, was him basically assuring all the execs at Capcom, don't worry, this game's coming along well, just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
And, like, even that tactic was not able to, like, really work against, like, the execs at EA, to the point that I think even the actual director, the person that, like, kind of put the game together, as it were, was just like an EA employee or something that worked with Grasshopper.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it wasn't even really like Suda or even Shinji's game at that point.
Yeah, I mean, from what I gather with Killer 7, essentially Mikami was giving him protection from the higher up.
Yeah.
Know? But when Shadows of the Damned came along, you know, they were like, yes, we've got a dream team of those two, Akira Yamaoka, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
As soon as we work out exactly what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
No, we can't do that. Okay, let's just turn it into a third-person action game, kind of like Resident Evil 4. You kids remember Resident Evil 4, like that?
As well as, I can't remember if it was that game or Lollipop Chainsaw that started doing the whole Asuda 51 trip, like, as part of the marketing. Like, that was the... Like, whenever that phrase turned up, it was always, like, the sign that I immediately knew that, like, people were just looking for Suda as, like, just, like, a sort of surface marketing kind of...
Yeah.
way, instead of actually being like, no, this is... Yeah, instead, like, this is, you know what you're getting because he is the one directing this.
Yes, it's like the difference between a Suda 51 game and inspired by Suda 51, which Shadows of the Damned sadly was the latter.
Yeah. And all this comes back to what we're going through now in Travis Strikes Again, where you're actually going to find that despite, like, how we've kind of gone over just how fucked up the original Shadows of the Damned development was, this game still, like, comes away embracing that legacy in spite of where it ended up. Yeah,
I mean, Shadows of the Damned, for all its faults, it's an enjoyable game, and it's definitely one I'd recommend, you know, picking up, just having fun with it. But, you know, aside from the dialogue, I wouldn't be expecting too much from it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the dialogue and the voice acting in it is top notch. Everything else is just kind of, well, average.
Yeah, especially when I think even the crazier part, I can't remember like what all the sources were that confirmed it, but I remember like hearing about it like in a video that covered a lot of this stuff regarding Shadows of the Damned. But apparently, like Garcia's voice actor was not always Steve Bloom. In fact, Steve Bloom was specifically brought in at the last minute because in another example of EA executive meddling, they actually had, I think it was like a Spanish like voice actor or something, but because of like his accent or whatever, like the focus testers or people they had in QA could not clearly understand what he was saying, even though it was in English.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah, and as a result, they got in Steve Bloom at the very last minute to just re-record every single bit of dialogue that was done with the original voice actor. And that is especially crazy when you consider the dynamic between Garcia and Johnson, because Greg Ellis was always Johnson from day one. And when you hear it, you would have thought that, oh, Steve Bloom and Greg Ellis were totally like in the same booth, doing the lines back and forth off each other. No,
Yeah.
they practically never interacted with each other in like the voice booth. It's fucking insane.
Testament to how good both of them are, really.
Yeah.
Just quickly going back to Kuriyama, though, I believe they did release a manga, just like 15 chapters or so about 2 or 3 volumes, which was based on the original concept, which I think was on, I remember seeing it on some Suda 51 fan site. I think he had it on his own site for a while as well.
Yeah, I'm familiar as well. It was like the title of it was called Kuriyami Dance.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, I still need to read all the way through it. I did read through like the first chapter and it was like, oh yeah, I could totally see where this was born out of the original concept.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of the manga that were based off Drakengard, which is kind of weird, but where a lot of the ideas that weren't probably meant to be in the game sort of get shuffled off to the side. Sort of like, well, we don't want to let all these go to waste.
Yeah. But it's still nuts as hell. Kind of just the fact that like this game in a weird way does give you like a good sort of highlights reel of like what a lot of the distinct locations or memorable ones were in the original game.
Yeah, it's like a sizzle reel.
Yeah, but like in a reverse fashion, you know? Especially when we have White Sheep Man basically telling you like who Garcia and Johnson originally fought in these areas. Which helps a lot considering I don't even remember most of the original game except for the very opening hour.
Yeah, I remember the big boner section because it was a pain in the ass. No pun intended.
Oh yeah. And the fact that, like, the location it happens in always felt, like, super squandered. Because there's this crazy, like, neon city section, but you're just standing on a platform, just in a shooting gallery.
And I remember the shooting segments, because they were kind of annoying.
Yeah, they were.
There was also the bit where you're getting chased by... what'd you call her? Garcia's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because that was a complete not Resident Evil, Evil Dead homage. Oh, it's that girl. Which was the section we were just in there with the cabin.
Yep.
So I remember bits and pieces, but Super Great Friend did a really good playthrough of it, so go watch that.
I'll actually
folks.
have to check that one out. Yeah, because I kind of want to see like the whole game again, but by the same token, I kind of don't want to buy like a 360 or PS3 copy.
Yeah, I mean it's really cheap. I got a copy of it a while back for pennies, but
by the same token, I would almost hope wait for maybe like a PC port in the future, because the way this game and Suda in general is trying to just go back through and reevaluate his past, and the fact that he is not approaching like this tribute in a way that makes it seem like he regrets or hates the original, I would hope that maybe that this is a sign of him maybe trying to like get things figured out to possibly release the game on Steam or like on at least on current gen consoles.
Yeah, if they released like a double pack of this and Lollipop Chainsaw for, I don't know, 20-25 quid, I'd be all over that.
Yeah. Because like I could imagine at least like the original game benefiting nicely since it's a shooter and all, like having like a higher frame rate than it did.
Definitely.
Because it's Unreal Engine 3, and like we all know, like especially like with games like on that original hardware, they always end up running so much better on like PCs. Yeah,
I mean look at Vanquish.
Oh hell yeah.
Or Bayonetta for that matter. I mean that game was, you know, smooth on the 360, but PC is like playing a whole different thing.
Yeah. That said, I still kind of stick with like the Switch version of Bayonetta just because I like the extra costumes.
Yeah, I need to get the Wii U version of it, mainly because I don't have a Switch, but
right.
Also because I've never played Bayonetta 2.
Yeah. it's a good enough game. Not as like strong as the first one, but I like a lot of bits about it.
I'm kind of disappointed we haven't picked up any strawberries or shot any goats lately.
You might want to hold that thought.
Seriously?
Yes.
Boy.
We don't get any strawberries here, but we do get ramen. No beer, though. Not even in the underworld.
Not even tequila?
Nah, not even.
Damn.
The game refuses to let Travis be anything but sober.
Being Travis is suffering.
But yeah, like, with all, like, the different environments we've gone through, you can already see why I say this is, like, my favorite of all, like, the Death Drive games that were, like, in the game at launch. It's just because with all, like, the different locations you went to in the original game, just going through them back to back to back helps a lot in, like, at least, like, avoiding any visual monotony. Which the other games we've gone through have certainly run into that at spots.
Well, I think this is the first game that we've gone through that doesn't take place in a series of boxes.
Yeah.
So it's got that going for it.
Yeah, because it's trying to go out of its way to replicate how those areas looked in the original.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they were, this was where they came up with the ideas first. Because it seems to have had a lot more, effort put into it.
Well, the thing with the game when it was starting out is that the original idea is that Suda wanted it to be a collaboration between indie developers, where the Death Drive games would have been developed by a different indie studio, have them be actual different games, but it was dropped because of the logistics of having to communicate with so many different teams across the world.
Yeah, I remember when the announcement trailer came out with Hotline Miami playing in the background, and they were like, yeah, you're going to be seeing a lot more of that. Got a couple of t-shirts, I guess.
Yeah. We did see it in the opening video of the game. Like, that trailer is in here, but there is still a bit more Hotline Miami beyond just that. But it's not in it's not in this game. No, this is we are still in full Shadows of the Damned tribute.
So Travis strikes again, or Travis strikes back. We're going to be running into Biker and Janitor.
No, not quite. But that's still like that's still the amusing thing when I think back on it with this game's reveal with Damn Dark Knight, is that all the other pseudo references we had come across up to this point had always been like basically them going, oh, this character totally exists in the same world as Travis does. But but Shadows of the Damned's existence is based entirely on the fact that it was a video game released in the No More Heroes universe.
Yeah.
A game that not only did release around the same time frame that it did in the real world, but this sequel was technically developed years before the original game happened. Because of the way that the Death Drive Mark II was being originally developed, like around the late 80s, early 90s. The whole idea for Dr. Juvenile creating this game was that she basically played Shadows of the Damned in the world of dreams. And from there, she was like, I'll make a sequel to this game that is clearly going to exist at some point in the future, but it is currently not.
Fuck it, makes as much sense as anything else in this game.
True that. But yes, this is the mock strawberry section that you were asking about.
Thank God there's no cherries, that's all I'm saying.
Yep, gotta get the strawberries while making sure not to have our health get chipped away to darkness, which is something that has happened quite a few times already, and that's already like another thing that has been like a carryover from Shadows of the Damned and even its original concept, where the concept of darkness itself is the enemy.
Maybe needs a slap in the face.
clearly.
It's big enough. Take a lot of slapping.
Also, this room is like the first and last time we do anything with mock strawberries. So
wow.
At least we don't have to at least see anything else with the crying baby gate and having to stuff the damn strawberries in its face.
See, that's what I mean. Like, all the other stages, you would have needed to do this like 6 times at this point. But here, it's like, nah, one and done. Next.
Yeah, this is definitely the one that got like the most thought and effort put into it, considering Shadows of the Damned original was not an indie game.
Yeah.
And the whole point of Travis Strikes Again was to give you the feel like going between different indie games. But fuck it, man, like, knowing, like, if this sequel was to actually be made where you actually play as Johnson as, like, a humanoid, fuck it, give me that game. I'd be on board to play that, because it would just straight up be an Underworld Kamen Rider action game.
Yeah, like a proper action RPG, like any number of games on the PS2. Because that's where they all seem to appear. Would have been amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is pretty weird.
Might as well be this game's subtitle. Travis Strikes Back. Yeah, that is pretty weird.
Travis Strikes Again. Weird shit, eh? It's quite perfect. But yeah, it does say a lot how, with Shadows of the Damned, like, when I played it back in the day, I promptly forgot about most of it because it was a rental, but this game, like, going back through these areas, and essentially having, like, an in-universe parallel to Suda, giving you, like, little commentary about, like, the creation of the original game, that it's just... It makes me have more appreciation for it in retrospect than I ever did at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, Paula, that's her name.
Mm-hmm. She had it pretty bad throughout the entire game. Like, being forced into just horrible undeath and having to be put down by Garcia at multiple points.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've gone back, so with the commentary, it's gone down from talking about all the bosses and enemies and areas to now we're finally getting down to the core characters of it all. Talking about how absolutely cool Garcia is, and him and Johnson are such an unbeatable team.
Remember, he's a Mexican, not Mexicant.
Yep. Suda, I'm pretty sure somewhere on his bucket list, he really does want to make a sequel to this game.
Oh yeah,
for real. Despite all of the troubles it went through, it kind of like it says a lot that not just with this game, but also the fact that we ran into Mondo Zappa in the visual novel sections, that he is fully learning to embrace the games where he did not even have like the most creative control over their inception.
Yeah, I feel like Killer is Dead is probably the most creative control he's had in a game since Killer 7. Not including like the Silver Case and 25th Ward remakes.
Kind of, but at the same time, it always felt like it was still being squandered quite heavily between all like the Gigolo missions and the fact that just there was not enough cutscene or like story content to even like fully like describe like what he was trying to get into concept wise.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck it. Like the fact that the origin of Mondo's arm is not in the game and only exists in a developer interview is insane. The idea that Mondo Zappa was one of the people that killed Osama bin Laden, and the evil energy that remained upon killing him infected his arm, and he had to cut it off.
I somehow forgot about that.
Yeah, I remember it precisely because that was the only source you could get it from.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened with the Gigolo missions, because originally he was supposed to be like a nice family man who was also, basically a hitman. a government-sanctioned hitman. But, you know, that because they were like, no, this game isn't sexy enough, you've got to put in some gratuitous TNA.
Yeah. But now we are back to where the journey in the underworld had all started. On this long highway stretch.
Hey, buddy.
Travis, as you'd expect, is going full fanboy here.
Huge damn fan. Yeah.
Already getting into acknowledging the lack of a New Game Plus feature.
Or not being able to go back to previous forms of the weapons.
Yeah, I'm with Travis on this one. If it gets a new port, I hope it gets a New Game Plus feature. Also, here's the funny thing. You want to know why he's called 8 Hearts this time instead of Johnson?
Go on, then.
If you remember the cutscene at the start of Fleming's son, his gun holds 7 golden bullets that are basically like instant kills. Like, shot through the hearts, you're dead with them. So the idea is that, well, if he has 8 hearts, as long as he has 1, he can still kick Alfred's ass, who's the name of him. But yeah, as you saw, I was making the constant Kamen Rider references. He straight up goes Rider Kick at your face at the start. And this is one of the best boss fight themes ever. Like, I'm a huge fan of Brian Buster Jr.'s, but this one is just straight up Japanese hip-hop. And it's the clearest sign that you know that they got some Japanese DJs to make this.
Yeah, it's like a more sedate version of Nathan is Our Boss from No More Heroes 2.
Yeah. And yo, Garcia coming into assist 8 Hearts. From beyond the 4th dimension.
Again, makes about as much sense as anything else.
Yeah. This moment is just, it's so awesome. It's got a goddamn spinning bird kick and everything. Seriously, this is why I wanted true damn Dark Knight game where you play as Johnson and it is just Suda making a Kamen Rider game in the underworld. It would be the sickest shit ever.
And for some reason it'd be a crossover with Persona 5 because why not?
Yep. They'll never see it coming. But yeah, this is... God, this whole game was just fucking amazing. Both from the reveal and the fact that it is surprisingly fun to just play through, like, as a regular game. And the boss fight is also pretty exciting, both in, like, the patterns and the music and everything.
Oh, that's right.
But guess what? We all know how much Travis is a fan of Shadows of the Damned and Johnson and all these characters. Would you be surprised if I tell you that this is the one instance that he actively spares the final boss of the game?
Well, I'm certainly hoping that's the case. Please tell me we now go on a rescue mission for Garcia.
Nah, Johnson's the one who's going to be going on that rescue mission.
Damn it.
Even Travis giving Garcia the motivation he needs to break out of the 4th dimension.
God damn, that's badass.
Yeah. Like, and it also says a lot with this game being like the 6th of the Death Drive games that Travis goes through. And that by the time he's reached this point, like, not only is he sparing Johnson in this moment, but he's also, this is where he is gaining the most respect for, like, the creators of the original game and Dr. Juvenile, that he is like, you know what? Even though destroying everything in my path with a beam katana is all I seem to be good for, I am going to let this slide. Yeah, that was something that I had completely forgotten about Garcia until Travis brings it up that Garcia never actually wears a t-shirt under his
That's
jacket.
right. Yeah.
Which, I can't imagine how comfortable or uncomfortable that would be with that material just all over like your over your chest like that.
Chafing.
Clearly. See, and there he goes. Johnson straight up is going to peace out through a portal to the fourth dimension. Bust Johnson out of his current prison. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. It'd be nice if this game did come back for real. Even White Sheep Man is surprised. Fingers crossed.
Hint, hint.
Oh yeah, and Paula, after all the horrible shit that she went through in the first game, it's kind of nice that she is living a very peaceful life now. Booking a trip to Hawaii, she's taking up yoga. It's like I feel glad for her. She deserves it.
I really hope the next game just has Garcia shouting, "Downward, fucking dog!" Just when you start it up, press start, and then he just walks out of his room.
Literally the best part of No More Heroes 2. the letters falling off the sign of the No More Heroes hotel to
More arrow.
More arrows. Travis is still in shock by that entire sequence and just the no lead up to what it was originally going to be.
I mean, I'm not upset, but what the shit, bro?
Yeah, just booted up the sequel to a game where I went through the original game in reverse like it was Devil May Cry 4. But yeah, we got all the death balls. We went through all the games for what that's worth, and now, because it's more Batman who wanted the wish and not Travis, he's just gonna defer to Batman and be like, yep, fuck it, you do what you want with these. It did. Something did happen. And it is just as outrageous as all the other shit we've seen in the last couple games.
Gonna say I have no idea.
Now, with all 6 balls brought together, I bring forth Bootleg Shenron.
Well, I'm gonna say I'm underwhelmed.
Oh, but just wait. We gotta ask him our one wish. Bring back Batgirl. Batman wants it, the fans want it, we all want it. Oh, wait, oh shit, no!
Well, not really supposed to do this, but fuck it.
Yeah, it's oh god, put her back, she ain't done yet!
What?
Yeah. Batgirl is now a dog. And it's Batman's time to get all introspective on what the fuck his life is now. That he brought his daughter back as a dog. Because one of the balls that was mixed in was a fake. God, could you imagine if that was an actual plot, like, in an arc of Dragon Ball, where like, in order to stop the villain, they swap out one of the balls with a fake one, and when the villain wishes for it, Shenron just goes, oh, wait, one of these balls is fake, but fuck it, I can't leave without doing something, here it goes.
And then everything they wish for just turns into Bulma's undies.
Yep. So yeah, Batgirl is back as a dog, and as a result of that, she also has her mind basically regressed to that of a puppy. But, like, a very hyperactive, like, murder-crazed puppy.
I was surprised. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Yes, that is the new problem to solve, and the answer to that problem is DLC. Quite literally. Like, they've made no attempts to hide the fact that, yes, like, not only is Shinobu the one of the playable characters in like as DLC, but so is Bad Girl. But when we get to playable Bad Girl, she's obviously not going to be playable as a dog. So something has to happen where we undo this fucking mistake.
So it's basically Asura's Wrath all over again?
Yes, except that we do get like a proper ending even without the DLC.
Ah, well, at least it's got that going for it.
Yep, sure does.